Hallöchen, da sind wir wieder, ja, wir sind wieder in den schönen Spielchen und ja, wir gucken, wie wir jetzt weiterkommen und wo es hingeht. Ich bin wieder voll gespannt und dann legen wir auch mal los. Wir sind ja voll gefuttert, also kann es auch losgehen. Okay, so, wo sollen wir jetzt hier hin? So, jetzt müssen wir mal gucken, wo wir hier hin müssen. Gasthaus. Standortliste. Bier. Werft. Da, was wir. Okay. Fahrstuhl müssen wir dann. Wo ist denn der Fahrstuhl? Okay, wo ist der Fahrstuhl? Kein Fahrstuhl. Gehen wir mal dahin. Dahin. Oh, shit. Egal. Warte mal, muss man mal gucken. So, und zur Werft. Wo ist denn hier die Werft? Oh. Hey. Die Werft ist... Ach, wieder falsche Taste. Werft ist... Wo ist die Werft? Hier ist, glaube ich, auch keine Werft mehr. Werft ist... Cool. Wo soll jetzt die Werft sein hier? Cool. Wird nicht angezeigt. Dann gucken wir einfach mal.
I wonder if something happened.
So, wo ist die Werft jetzt? Das ist jetzt hier drin. Das ist das. Ob das jetzt hier richtig ist, weiß ich jetzt nicht. Aber wir werden es sehen. So. So, dann sind wir hier. So. Mal hier, vielleicht ist da hier irgendwo die Werft. Hier ist keine. Unten. Genau. Okay. Muss man hier hin. Ja, alles klar. Gibt es hier einen Schnellreisepunkt? Ja, hier gibt's. Alles klar.
What do you say we check back in on the ranch?
So, dann gehen wir mal hier runter. Gucken wir, ob wir hier die Werft finden. Die verborgene Werft. So.
A dead end?
No, there's an elevator. Looks operational.
Ah, okay. Haben wir hier irgendwas Spezielles?
I can't believe there's actually an underground harbor here.
Bei
There are even
Plattfische.
boats docked.
I only see Danins. Think they were forced to work here?
Probably. Let's see what they have to share about Almadria.
Gucken wir mal erstmal alles einsammeln hier. Noch mehr Fische.
What's this thing?
Sehr schön. Haben wir hier noch irgendwas? Nö, ne? Und das da hinten. Das ist eine Truhe. Okay. Dürften wir eigentlich alles haben hier. Was haben wir hier vorne noch irgendwas vielleicht? Da ist nichts. Okay. Das sieht so modern aus hier. Okay. Dann gucken wir mal.
You didn't happen to see a lord come by, did you?
Sorry, friend, but she just left. Came by with a whole posse of underlings, boarded her ship, and took off at first wind. We damn near got blown away. She was that much in a hurry.
Damn! So we missed her!
You guys trying to go after her? Need a ride?
Are you saying you know how to steer a ship?
Spent most of my life chained to the deck of some ship or other. Yeah, I know my jib from my boom.
We don't know how dangerous it'll be. Better you give us the boat and stay on solid ground.
Whoa there! You been out on the water before? The sea ain't nobody's friend, you know. You need a sea dog like me, or you'll sink her before she makes it out the harbor.
We're losing time. Sir, we're in your debt.
Now that's more like it. Name's Mahavar. Just give me a holler when you're all set and we'll set sail.
Hey. Ja. Können wir doch. Müssen wir doch mit ihm sprechen hier. Komm her. Ja, ja, klar. Regel setzen. Yes. So, jetzt werden wir mit der Maus. So, dann lass uns mal loslegen hier. Ich bin schon voll gespannt, wo wir hinkommen.
This is like a dream come true. Never gotten to captain a ship before. Never would have thought I'd get a chance like this. Thank you, y'all.
The pleasure's all ours. Think we'll catch up to her?
Course we will. They got too much weight on them. Meanwhile, this ship's carrying nothing but us salty scalawags. They got a good head start on us, but we can take them.
Do you know if there are any Danins on that ship?
Couldn't say for sure. On the one hand, seeing as it's supposed to be something of another castle, I'd reckon they probably wouldn't let a bunch of Danins on board. On the other hand, I'd be real surprised if the Renans were able to pilot that thing all by themselves. In any case, it's gonna be a while before we reach her. Until then, you're all free to do whatever. Just don't fall in the ocean.
Was? Okay.
I know Mahavar said we could take it easy, but there's not exactly a lot to do on this boat.
Okay, dann sprechen wir erstmal mit dem hier.
Hold that pose long enough and someone might just come along and paint you.
Any artist who'd see fit to paint me needs their eyes tested.
What can you tell me about Almadria?
Not as much as you'd probably wish. I only ended up crossing paths with her a handful of times, after I was chosen to be a lord on Lenegus.
Ah, right. I almost forgot about Lenegus. How much do you think they know about what's been going on down here?
It's safe to assume they know everything, though I know not why they choose to remain uninvolved. Perhaps they see what's been happening as just part of the ongoing crown contest.
Even what Almadria did? Has it really reached the point where her actions are seen as normal?
Not to my knowledge, no. At its core, the crown contest is a competition to see who can amass the most astral energy. And to amass such energy, slaves are needed to collect it from. It's therefore against the Lord's interest to kill them.
So then why would Almadria do something like that?
We must remember that time is running out in the crown contest. Perhaps her hand was forced, so to speak. It is a way to accrue astral energy faster and in larger quantities than through slave labor. Doing so kills off that labor force, obviously, but it is a means to an end nonetheless. No one could have foreseen that something like the Hollowing would arise back when the contest was first conceived.
Is becoming the Sovereign of Rena really that important to the Lords?
Of course. It's the greatest prize one can attain in their eyes. In that respect, at least, I'm really not that surprised that Almadria resorted to what she did, as utterly despicable as it is.
It's reassuring to hear you feel the same way I do.
I worry that the only reason I never did anything similar in Menancia was due to my lack of ambition.
If you didn't want to be reminded of your past, you could have just plugged your ears.
You think too highly of me. I'm afraid I must respectfully disagree. I'm not nearly as virtuous of a person as you might wish to believe.
If that's so, would you have been so shaken up when Kisara lost her brother? Why else would you turn your back on your own kind and choose to fight for Miguel's dream? Aren't we just Danins?
A curious choice of words. Did what you see in Mahag Sar hit you that hard?
What Deadheim did to that city, He didn't liberate anyone. Anyone who refused to follow him was an enemy in his eyes. 300 years of Renan rule taught him nothing.
What I have come to understand is that the conflict extends beyond Danon versus Renan. There is an internal quarrel as well. I mean to bring about a true, lasting coexistence in Menancia. But there are more walls we must topple first.
And you don't think you can pull it off?
Well, you seem to think you can, at least.
Does that make us enemies?
Insofar as an exchange of swordplay, no, it doesn't.
Not good enough for you?
Are you really... Forgive me. I will continue to fight by your side a while longer. That much I have decided.
Okay, dann gehen wir zum nächsten. So, die haben ihr ist schlecht irgendwie.
You don't look so good. Are you all right?
The floor. It keeps moving. How can you stand it? How can you even stand?
I'm not the best person to ask about discomfort. I can't feel pain, remember?
I still can't believe what happened in Niez. Even now. As a lord, my expectations for Almadria were already pretty low. But the way she treated human lives like they're mere playthings.
Yeah. And it wasn't as if the situation in Niez was improving much to begin with.
You mean Deadheim?
The whole reason I started fighting back was because of my anger at the atrocities of Renan rule. Back then, all I had to worry about was fighting the Renans for the sake of the Danons. But then I met XOne and the people of Menancia, and things became a lot more complicated. It's even messier now that we have to worry about Danons like Deadheim.
It used to be that the Danons were the ones in the right, and the Renans were the ones in the wrong. Though, maybe that was just a biased perspective from being on the side of the oppressed.
Exactly. I'll never tolerate the Renans ruling over us. But nothing ever ends up being as black and white as you'd expect it to be either. That's clear to me now.
That said, even putting aside bad apples like Deadheim for a moment, you may be able to free the Danon people, but that won't undo 300 years of oppression. It'll be hard for them to not give in to their resentment. I think maybe that's why I clung to our dream so hard back in Menancia.
Even if his motivations weren't pure, Dohalim has a good heart. He didn't sink to the depths Almadria did.
You don't understand. I'm saying that it goes deeper than that. This hierarchy we live in, it's not solely something the Renans invented. I remember a story Rinwell once told me. She said before the Renans invaded, we Danons had our own class system. We are the ones who divided ourselves. I saw it in Deadheim's eyes. He wanted to rule over others.
To hear Bayfon tell it, Deadheim wasn't always that way.
But as time went on, and he and the Darkwings fought the Renans, he eventually changed. I guess what I'm getting at is, if we defeat the Renans but just go back to the way things were before, was there even any point in fighting?
But that world isn't the one you want to create, right?
Maybe not. But to tell you the truth, these days I'm not so sure that dream is even possible.
You have your promise to Megal, though. Your home and the people of Menancia are depending on you.
I know. My brother. He truly believed in his dream of coexistence. And I suppose, even now, many people still do. And then, there's you.
Who, me?
You and XOne.
I'm not sure I follow.
Okay, then let me spell it out for you. How many other Renans and Danons do you know that get on as spectacularly as the two of you?
I don't know that I'd say spectacularly.
Well, I suppose it's really all a matter of how you look at it, isn't it?
I really don't see what you're getting.
I think I'm getting seasick again. Sorry. Can you just give me a wide berth for a few minutes?
Okay, dann machen wir halt mal einen Bogen um sie. Alles klar, wir gucken weiter. So, hier ist Pläne.
Do you think Law is okay?
If you're worried, why don't you ask him yourself?
Yeah. I think maybe I should apologize to him too. I should apologize to all of you, really.
Us too?
Well, I was kinda lying to you all this whole time. I was blind to everything except my own revenge. I never even considered the struggles all of you might be facing.
We all have things we'd prefer to keep to ourselves, Rinwell. So what if you had something to hide? It doesn't undo the good that you've done, or the people that you've helped save along the way.
But that's not what I mean.
I know. You're talking about Almadria, right?
Yeah. I hate her, Alphen. I can't stop hating her. Even just thinking about her makes my head feel like it's going to explode. But it's not just her. I think about the way Law looked at me. I hated the Lord who killed my parents. And I hated the Renans I had to travel alongside. And yet, Cislodia's Danans backstab each other like it's a normal way of life. And Mahag Sar has people like Deadheim. But then there are people like Law and Shion. It's all just too much. I don't know what to think anymore.
Law never said that you had to forgive Almadria. It's only natural you would hate your family's murderer. But
what?
Law left home because of how much he hated his father. As a result of that, well, I think Law spent a lot of time thinking about how they never got to make things right. And if I had to guess, killing Ganabel didn't make any of those feelings go away. Law let revenge fuel him, and I think now he's afraid you'll do something you'll regret.
Afraid?
Whatever happens to Almadria when this is all over is up to you. I'll respect whatever choice you make. Just think it over carefully for me, okay? You still have time.
Okay. Thanks, Alphen. Say, back then, after the fight, I think I really made Shion mad. I don't know, though. Maybe it just looked that way. But I guess I just can't seem to understand how she feels. Do you know why she gets like that?
Shion's... She can be a tough nut to crack. She doesn't really talk a whole lot about herself.
It's just what she said about hate being a source of strength. Where did that come from? I wonder how it feels, not being able to hold another person's hand.
Okay. Dann gehen wir erstmal zu ihr.
Lean much further, you'll go overboard. Keeping an eye out for Almadria's ship?
I'm looking at the ocean.
The ocean?
Yeah. The waves. They help me think. This world is filled with natural wonders. The icy air and white peaks of Cyslodia, the lush green glades of Menancia, the harsh wastes of Calaglia. But Menancia has its lake of death, and Nias its ruins. And they wouldn't be there if it weren't for that contest.
say we actually manage to put a stop to the crown contest for good. What do you think will happen between the Danins and the Renans then?
You first.
Well, I want to believe that the coexistence we saw in Menancia can happen elsewhere, too. It's insane for all of us to keep fighting. If Menancia can do it, so can everyone else.
Yeah, I think that would be good too. A world where everyone can get along. At least, that's what I've come to believe.
You sure have changed.
I can't lie to you. Since I was young, I've looked down on the Danins too. But I've seen a lot. And I see things differently now. I've seen so many ugly and terrible things in this world. And yet, they didn't come from just the Danins. And the good things too. They didn't come from just the Renans. Kindness and cruelty exist on both sides. A person's race doesn't factor into it. So, I guess you're right after all, Alphen. I have changed. You know, I've never actually touched another person like this.
Shion.
Ever since I was on Lenegis, I've always been alone. Even after I came to Dana. Always.
And now?
Do you still not remember your past?
No. Sometimes it feels like I can almost remember. But then this mask stops me.
The mask keeps you from remembering why you have the mask in the first place. It's a little ironic, isn't it?
A little. Well, it won't be long now before you're rid of those thorns, you know? Only 2 lords remain. And once you have their master course, you'll be able to create the Renis Alma, right? Then you can... Shion?
Sorry, it's nothing. Promise. You're right, though. It'll all be over soon. I never could have made it this far on my own. I have everyone to thank for that. Including... especially you, Alphen.
Don't worry about it. We're friends, after all.
Yeah, we are.
Okay, aber sie denken mehr als nur Freunde. Aber hier ist erstmal die Folge vorbei. Wenn es euch gefallen hat, gerne ein Däumchen da lassen und wir sehen uns in der nächsten Folge. Bis dann. Ciao.